evening. We have a lot of news to tell you about here tonight, including that sudden death of a well-known media celebrity, Anna Nicole Smith, who died in Florida late today at the age of 39. This may say a lot about our current culture of celebrity and media these days, when all the major cable news networks switched over to nonstop live coverage this afternoon when word arrived that Anna Nicole Smith had died. She was 39 years old. She was a lot of things: a former Playboy bunny, a former Supreme Court litigant, and a bona fide celebrity of this media age. NBC's Mark Potter is in Hollywood, Florida tonight, outside the hospital where she was rushed earlier today. Mark, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Anna Nicole Smith was found unconscious in her hotel room early this afternoon, but efforts to revive her there failed. The first distress call came from room 128 at the Hard Rock Hotel in Hollywood, Florida, where Anna Nicole Smith checked in with her husband on Monday. She was a frequent guest at the hotel and was here now to buy a boat. Her personal nurse alerted the hotel operator that there was a problem and they needed help. And then a 911 call was made.
We started an IV. We pushed all the medications. We took 12 lead EKGs. We attempted pacing her, which would be an external pacemaker for the heart. And we had electrical capture, but no mechanical capture, which means we couldn't get her heart beating.
Hey, what is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon. And we're coming back with another video. A pretty interesting video, so y'all already know what's going on. Alright, so as y'all can see by now, we're going to be diving into Anna Nicole Smith, going down the rabbit hole of her death and her son's death. I had no plans on doing this video, at all. I actually didn't even know that she had a recent documentary on Netflix. But I guess it just all synced for the perfect time to go ahead and drop this video. I want to use this video to also throw in a clip that y'all are going to see in the Britney Spears and Shia LaBeouf video. I know I keep bringing that video up, but I'm gonna drop that in a few days. Don't worry. I just wanted it to be right in the line of all of these videos that I got. It kind of goes with the Jet Jackson video that I'm gonna upload, and this video as well, since the clip that I'm about to show y'all is of a guy talking that's in both videos. Now, he was just exposing a bunch of stuff about the occult and Disney, and then he touched on Anna Nicole Smith as well. And when I heard him say that and talk about her, I was like, boom. We got to do a video on Anna Nicole, because I've never done her on my channel. Even, before my channel was deleted, I never thought to do Anna Nicole Smith. But as I started looking into it, you start to see the same patterns from a bunch of different deaths that were in hotels. Especially a lot of people I've done on my channel. She kind of died similar to Chris Cornell and the whole Chester Bennington thing. She died similar to Whitney Houston and a bunch of other, ritual deaths that were done in hotels. There's even a video on YouTube that compares the hotels that Anna Nicole Smith died in Florida and that Whitney Houston died in. It's not a conspiracy video, but they're talking about how the hotels changed over time. So it lets you know, like, subconsciously people are kind of comparing their deaths, because we've been doing this a long time. We've done a lot of videos on these type of deaths, and you're going to notice patterns in them, that they're all kind of a mix of the same. So I figured it would be a good time to go down the Anna Nicole Smith rabbit hole to see whether or not we believe she died the way that they give it to us. I'm going to read the official narrative, as I always do, so we can dive into this thing, because it's still a mystery to this day toward, like, the official narrative. They still don't know if she did this to herself or if she was drugged. Now, we're going to get into all those details later in this video, but for right now, I want y'all to check this out.
Showing how tragic all this was, and so this certainly has been preoccupying a prominent place in the public's attention lately with Anna Nicole.
Yes.
And so you definitely have been able to tie her to some of the other buxom beauties in the past that have potentially been mind controlled. We can name Jane Mansfield, certainly the person she most emulated, Marilyn Monroe, ties into that little lump there. And so there's been a lot of speculation as to whether or not they were mind controlled or not.
in Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Another good point as well, certainly.
They are listed in Fritz Bringmeier's book as presidential model mind control slaves. We certainly can believe it of Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah,
that one's pretty obvious. Zsa Zsa Gabor is intriguing when we get to the end of this tale. And if you recognize that Vicki Lynn Marshall then became Anna Nicole Smith, in Anna are, we're talking about the same goddess again. Okay, so what we're looking at, again, are these high-profile rituals that are enacted in front of us. They involve the god and the goddess. And what we see now is Anna being our very sacrificial priestess, our sacrificial goddess.
Okay.
You will find that she follows exactly along the recipe of a trauma-based mind control slave. She was sexually and physically abused by all family members, according to herself. They brought this into the courtroom. It was inadmissible evidence, but they showed it to us anyway, and I don't know why, because it didn't help decide where to put her body. Her mother was a police officer, and you're going to find that these Satanists are constantly are police officers, lawyers, judges, people that you don't expect.
Child Protective Services.
Child Protective Services.
Absolutely.
Walt
District
Disney,
Attorney.
People that you don't think. Hillary Clinton. No, all right, I'm pushing it. But I do think that. When Anna Nicole was raised, she was then brought to this old man that was an oil tycoon and a Nazi, and he was to die the very next year. And they married her to this J. Marshall, and he was then to give her all his money. Well, this money, I will tell you right now, wasn't set up for Anna Nicole, but was later set up for the child, as we'll get to Daniel Lynn. Anna Nicole was then, after she was given this marriage, then she was taken by Howard K. Stern. He became her handler. He was the lawyer that slept on her couch, the lawyer that never left. He was always by her side, and with every video clip you see of her, he's holding her arm. He's the man in the camera, running the camera in the clip we're going to watch. What we see is that in these rituals, they actually sacrifice their firstborn son. When Daniel Lynn was born, 3 days later, Daniel, the 20-year-old son, was flown to the Bahamas. And in the hospital room with Howard K. Stern and the baby, he dropped dead. Okay, this was the sacrifice of the firstborn. The curious note is that the doctor, the pathologist that said it was methadone, Lexapro, and Ambien, is none other than Cyril White, who was the very same pathologist who worked on JonBenet Ramsey's autopsy.
That is very odd.
Yes. And if you look into JonBenet Ramsey, you'll find that she was a poor child subjected to this and eventually killed. Okay, so I don't trust him. All right. This is the same man who was actually accused of selling off 89 cadavers, or under 89 accounts of selling cadavers out of his office. So this is who's telling you why Daniel died. So I'm telling you he was sacrificed. He was sacrificed as the firstborn on the third day of the birth of Daniel Lynn. This court case went on and on. It was quite the Mickey Mouse court. And there were many things that just were contrary to exactly what they should have been. And one of the other things was Mr. Ford Shelley, who had actually broken into the home. He's the one who actually bought the Bahamian home, brought Anna Nicole to it, and paid for it. But the house is not in his name. It's in his father-in-law's name. But yet he was called before the court. And he was called by the Texas side, who wanted to bury Anna Nicole next to Marilyn Monroe. But he said he didn't want to have her buried next to Marilyn. He thought that she should be buried in the Bahamas. He totally flipped and was contrary to what he was supposed to be, because he was brought up by Texas. And he brought in this tape, and they were very excited about this tape. And personally, I can find no reason for this tape to ever have been showed in a court case trying to decide where Anna Nicole's body would be laid to rest.
Good point.
But what it does show perfectly is a altar from a dissociative identity disorder. When these children are abused at a very young age, this alter is their first alter, and it can be triggered, and they will appear to be a 4-year-old child. You're going to realize that what we're looking at with Anna Nicole is an alter. Now, I want to clearly state that the autopsy that was not done by Cyril White on Anna Nicole, which was Dr. Perper, who did the autopsy on Anna Nicole, found no signs of drug abuse and no drugs in her system upon death. There was nothing in her stomach. There was no, he calls it a mystery, and has no idea what killed her. But there was a few interesting clues where she had flu-like symptoms prior to her death, and she had a small bruise on her back that they kept trying to say that was from a fall in the shower. Anna Nicole's mother continually stated it was the drugs. It was the drugs. I tried to get her away from the wrong crowd. Didn't want her falling in with the wrong crowd. And then she went on to say, well, no, Anna Nicole wasn't on drugs when I sent her away. Always these contradictory statements. And then, of course, the autopsy showing no drugs in her system. All of the drugs found in the room were prescribed to Howard Stern. There were no drugs in the room.
And that's Howard K. Stern. Just
yes, Howard K. Stern for the record. She didn't have drugs or drugs in her system. So this is very critical to understand what we're going to witness here. Oh, there's so much. Let's go on as we're getting that clip ready to understand one deeper aspect of this now. I had mentioned that this whole CIA operation was wrapped up in drug running as well. Fritz Mingmeyer gives us a bunch of the codes and triggers that are used by these mind control people. And one of the codes that they use is rhinestone. And that is a code for drug running. So when Daniel Smith called into the courtroom and said, well, I don't want my son's body exhumed, the judge ended the case right then and there and said, okay, the body's going to the Bahamas. Well, I wonder how many drugs they were running to the Bahamas in that coffin, because they made a huge point to note that it was covered in rhinestones.
All right, y'all. Get into this part of the video, and once I do put out the Shia LaBeouf and Britney Spears video, y'all will see why I wanted to keep all these videos together, because it all ties back to mind control. And how, you know, these people gain split personalities off the trauma that they may have been through throughout growing up in Hollywood, because God knows what some of these people actually go through. Now, I want to take the time to say, man, we should be thankful. We should be blessed for the lives that we have and the lives that we live and the things we were chosen to do in this life, whether or not, you know, you have a bunch of money or you're struggling day to day. Because look, we all have a path. We all are here for something. And eventually you will find yours. You will find your path and your reason. Because I say that to say that, you know, not in a million years would I want to go through the things that some of these people go through because they are famous or because they grew up in the industry or Hollywood, or their parents were, you know, already well connected and they get quick, easy access to riches and fame and money and end up with a dude that looks like this. Now, this is the Nazi dude, oil billionaire guy that they were talking about in the clip that was just playing. I know none of y'all would want to end up being put with a dude that looks like this. Look, his eyes just look evil. I don't even care that he's old as hell. This dude looks, I can't even explain how he looks right now, like a gremlin. Look at it. Look at this. Look at Anna Nicole beside him. What in the hell? Let's just be thankful. Let's be thankful that we have what we have, you know? I would never want to go through none of this stuff. Like, doing this video, it has kind of almost been like, you know, looking at some of this stuff with Anna Nicole, it's crazy. Now, what I'm about to show y'all next, it kind of made me feel sad when I watched it. I felt a certain energy come over me that I didn't even want to put the entire clip in this video, because it just felt eerie. It felt really weird to watch her as her alter self. Now, as what he was talking about, actually, I don't know if I put that part in here yet, But I'm going to put it in here where, you know, this clip that we're about to watch is her being her altered personality, you know, and they say that she created this personality off the trauma and things that she went through when she was 4 years old. So she starts acting as a 4-year-old child, and she's not even aware of anything. She's not even aware of what the guy Howard K. Stern is talking about while he's recording this footage that was supposedly stolen from her house after she died. So this just goes into mind control and what these people actually go through from a young age, because who knows truly what her family did to her. Y'all heard what he said in the clip. I'm not going to say it too much because I don't want this video to get restricted. But supposedly she was abused by her entire family. I don't want to say what kind of abuse. Y'all can rewind the clip back. Y'all heard what he said. So it's crazy. Now look, we're going to go ahead and jump into this clip because I want to come back and talk more about her death and her son's death. Even though, you know, the guy in the clip, you know, he on his stuff. He know what he's talking about. You know, he pretty much gave you everything. But, you know, we're going to talk about it a little bit more. I want y'all to check this clip out. And if y'all want to, you know, you can go find the entire clip and just watch the whole thing of her dressed up in the clown makeup. It's on YouTube. You just type in a simple Anna Nicole Smith clown face and it'll come up. But just try to catch and understand what I'm talking about while you watch this. It's actually sad. But anyways, y'all check this out.
I don't know.
You can open your eyes. Close them.
You said open them.
Now close them. I wish you could go on the water slides. But you're pregnant. If your pregnancy, your heart's bad, if you have a broken bone or a back condition. I read the signs.
For the what? For a water park?
Yep.
I want to go.
You can't.
Why not?
Because your baby.
My baby's over there sleeping.
That's
Your
another
other-
one of your babies. Your baby down there.
Your baby down here.
That one.
I think I just have a little gas.
Say that again. Say it again.
I think I'm having some gas trouble.
Why aren't you pooting then, or does it hurt?
It hurts, and I need some gas poot stuff so I can poot it out.
She does.
Anna, look at me. Riley thinks you've absolutely lost your mind.
Huh?
Riley thinks you've lost your mind.
I didn't lose my mind.
She thinks you have.
I didn't.
Is this a mushroom trip?
Huh?
Is this a mushroom trip?
Huh?
Is this a mushroom trip?
What do you mean?
I'm kidding.
What does that mean?
I'm kidding. I said this footage is worth money.
Why? What footage?
This thing you're looking into?
It's a camera.
Exactly.
And you see there that she has no idea what he's talking about in a mushroom trip.
Right.
Not a clue. She's a 4-year-old girl.
Yeah.
When she's asked, when he says this footage is going to be a lot of money, worth a lot of money, and she says, why? What footage? This girl has been in front of cameras all her life. Mm-hmm. She has been making movies. She knows what footage is, but not at 4 years old. So we're seeing that she is totally dissociative. This is not a drug-induced state.
And so if that's not the case, then there's really no good reason for her to be acting in that fashion without there being some really different explanation. I can't say what, but yeah, mind control certainly fits the bill.
And Howard K. Stern was the one making that film, and he was also the one who trapped Ford Shelley's daughter there, according to Ford Shelley. Now me, I see these guys in cahoots. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of effort being put forward to make sure that we don't see their links. Mm-hmm. They actually put forward a whole video about how his house was robbed, because this tape was stolen out of Anna Nicole's house after the death.
All right, y'all. Now we're going to use this part of the video to read the official narrative of Anna Nicole Smith's death and her son. So it reads, Anna Nicole Smith rose to prominence in the 1990s as a Playboy playmate and became a regular fixture of the tabloids thanks to her party girl persona and eyebrow-raising marriage at the age of 26 to 89-year-old Houston oil tycoon J. Howard Marshall. That would be the old guy that we were just talking about in the clip. The inheritance lawsuit that followed Marshall's death in 1995, 14 months after they tied the knot, as well as her early 2000s reality show, then furthered her celebrity, making her both a household name and a national laughingstock. Says, in her documentary, You Don't Know Me, Smith's friend and supposed former lover, Missy Byram, claimed that Smith's addiction to prescription drugs started after she got a breast augmentation surgery when she was in her early 20s. Valium, Xanax, Lortabs, Vicodin, and Klonopin, said Byram. From that time on, she was always taking them. There was nothing she could do to stop it. Byram claimed that by the early 1990s, Smith was a full-blown drug addict. And the documentary showed that in 1994, Smith had survived, catch this, an accidental overdose in a Hollywood hotel room. So in 94, Anna Nicole Smith supposedly had another accidental overdose, and she survived it in a Hollywood hotel room. Now, could this have been the first attempt? Gotta ask ourselves that question. It goes on to say, Smith was found in an unresponsive state on February 8, 2007, according to the New York Times. A private nurse, who in an episode of The Final 24, identified as the wife of Smith's bodyguard, made several resuscitation attempts before paramedics made it to the scene. However, Smith was pronounced dead by the time she was taken to the hospital that same afternoon. Now, I saw the timestamps. The timestamps, it almost took her an hour from when they found her in the room till she arrived at the hospital dead. I think it was a legit 45 minutes to an hour. So that was kind of questionable in itself on how long it actually took them to, get her to the hospital. It says an investigation into Smith's death, led by Broward County medical examiner and forensic pathologist Joshua Perper, concluded that the model and actress died of combined drug intoxication. Now, Joshua Perper, or however you say his name, that's the guy that was being talked about in the clip, which he was, remember the dude in the clip was talking about him, doing the autopsy of, if I'm not mistaken, I think he said Marilyn Monroe. No, he said JonBenet Ramsey. That's what he said. Marilyn Monroe was like her idol. But he said this was the same guy that did the autopsy on JonBenet Ramsey. So there was a, you know how they do. They keep it in the occult. They keep it in within a group of people who's basically down, with the ritual, with the process of how these ritual deaths go, right? So it says the autopsy report said that the primary drug in her system was chloral hydrate, which is a particularly potent sedative that also contributed to the death of her idol, Marilyn Monroe. So there's another connection to Marilyn Monroe right there. Says the coroner ruled out suicide as a potential cause of death. Smith's friends told Perper she was in an outstanding general spirits in the days preceding, even though she was still mourning the death of her son. The documentary claimed that Smith had made several attempts to take her own life in the throes of her grief. Moving on to her son. Now, this is where it gets eerie. It says Smith's son, Daniel, whom she had welcomed with her first husband, Billy Smith, in 1986, died on September 10th, 2006, 5 months before his mother's passing, and just 3 days after his younger sister, Danny Lynn's birth. Now, this is where a little bit of numerology comes in, because you know me, I'm the type to search all the way back down the calendar. Every time I see these people's death dates, I scroll all the way down the calendar into September 10th, 2006. Now, that day, September 10th, was indeed a Sunday. Ding, 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 ding. So we already know what's going on here. This was a ritual death, ritual sacrifice of her son being the firstborn, same way the guy spoke of it in the clip. That's why I checked these dates, because we already know what they love to do on Sundays. You can go check for yourself. September 10th, 2006 was a Sunday. Anna Nicole, I believe she died on a Thursday. But he also died 3 days after his younger sister was born. It's more numerology. More to the ritual. It says Daniel, who was 20 at the time, had been visiting Smith in the Bahamas in the days following Danny Lynn's arrival. Per a CNN report, He had died while spending the night in his mother's hospital room, and she had been the one to discover his body the following morning. Hospital personnel made attempts to revive him, and after they stopped and ruled him officially dead, Smith, who could not accept his death, took over. The outlet noted that she had eventually had to be sedated. His cause of death was later determined to be an accidental drug overdose, which his mom survived in 1994, supposedly, and then she died in 2007 from the same accidental overdose. You know, looking back on this video, you know, just to go ahead and wrap this all up, like I said earlier, you know, we should definitely be thankful for where we are in life. And if we all look back just 5 to 10 years ago, you know, it's amazing that we are at where we are now, because some of the things we have now we were wishing for just 5 years ago. You know, and I just want to say that just to remind y'all, just to have patience and, you know, mostly just to be thankful. You know what I'm saying? Just that you're here, because I'm not saying it for no reason. I'm saying it that, you know, although Anna Nicole Smith is long and gone, her son is long and gone, you know, you would rather live a long life of ups and downs and, you know, a lot of good than a little bit of bad, and have a long life of memories and, you know, things happening for you and loved ones and, you know, vacations and just all the stuff you get out of life. You know, instead of 30 years or 27 years or 25 years of being rich and famous and spiraling downhill, and your last days are known, you know, to the world, to the people that don't look at it the way we look at it, as being drug fueled and out of your mind, and, you know, you don't even really get up to experience adulthood the way that you were supposed to. You don't even get to see your children grow old. I'm not saying some of these people, you know, some of them had no choice. I'm not saying it's all their fault. But this is just more for, you know, the normal people, the regular everyday person, to not trip, you know. Don't even trip. Love yours. Love your life. Live it the way you want to live it, you know, accordingly, of course. And everything gonna be cool. So I just thought I would remind y'all of that with this video, just because that's the kind of vibe I got. You know, it's the kind of vibe I got from this, from doing this video and looking at some of the things I was looking at about Anna Nicole Smith. And I definitely think, you know, she was full-blown mind control, and she definitely had an alter side, you know, that was triggered by who knows what. But yeah, man, y'all already know what's going on, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, or anything that I might have missed in this video. Be sure to put it down so we can get a conversation going. As always, y'all already know we got more videos on the way. The work continues. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope y'all had a good weekend. And with that being said, it's Black Balloon, and I'm gonna see y'all soon. I'm out.